In the relationships, people find themselves now as if they are mentally disordered. And other people will even claim to say, you know what, Kikeni in this relationship kapa lenyalong ke le sober ke le sharp. Since we fitla bophelo ba ka mutushu. And now it's like I am a crazy person ever in my life, and that's where we are today.
The thing that also causes mental disorder is unforgiveness. Now, if you haven't forgiven this man, you've allowed that space whereby your brain says, now it's time to go and cause a hullabaloo. You know,
there was this teacher, and I think it got spread throughout to say we are all mad. It's just our degree of madness. We differ with the degree.
Degree and manifestation. That's why you hear people saying you are what you think. You imagine something, the brain thinks
that's happening. That's how your partner dream you. Maybe having relationship with someone. When you wake up, it's a war.
Are you shitting on me? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, no man can give me a phone. Can't do what's wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Insightful Exchange, and we are back today, and we are here. And it's a wonderful season. It's a wonderful time. It's springtime. And we are looking forward into an exciting year. We know, of course, that spring, it resembles, especially for us Africans, it's a new year, actually. We're supposed to celebrate the spring day more as a new year, not just only of sprinkling water to people and so on, but we need to really celebrate it. I know it's quite a long political path that can be taken for that to happen, but we are so happy that we are together again. Is Milemza Lemon, my daughter Phiri, and I am with my brother. How are you, sir?
My good sir, I'm happy.
Yes.
But I'm happy that this is my last week of wearing a jersey.
Okay.
You spoke about spring. I mean, you're right when you say it's a new year for us. Because some of us have been hiding ourselves because of this winter.
Yes.
But now we're getting out. But we're not only getting out, we're coming with hot stuff from Insightful Exchange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Can I know your name is?
Konji.
Elijah.
That's Elijah with you.
Masubelele.
Yes, that's the one.
Amen. I'm with Elijah Masubelele. We have had a wonderful time.
We have.
Yeah, we have had a wonderful time. And God has been so good to us. And I was reflecting with our sessions, and then I look into the dynamics that which we have, and we started to meet here at an Insightful Exchange.
Yeah, can you imagine?
and it looked like we've been knowing each other for a long time.
Yes. But you know the things of God.
Yes.
We're not operating in the physical only.
Yeah.
We also operate in the spiritual.
In the spiritual.
So we've met somewhere.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And we just gel well together. And we are looking forward into a lot of discussions into the coming time. And we cannot let alone the day today.
Yeah.
That today we are scrapping on something. We understand, man, that relationships, there is a term that people they use, barimujolo what. We're not using it.
Yes.
for some reason. But it's not only mujolo, but relationships are difficult. In many instances, to the point that it brings mental disorders to people. That is, it challenges the mental health of people. That then, as a result, in the relationships, people find themselves now as if they are mentally disordered. And other people will even claim to say, you know what, Kikeni in this relationship kapa lenyalong ke le sober ke le sharp. Since we fitla bophelo ba ka mutushu. And now it's like I am a crazy person ever in my life, and that's where we are today.
What are you talking about, Mfundi? You just made me think of something. that you are raising such a very potent point here, because many people are suffering mental health today.
Yes.
We've got a lot of mental health hospitals that are overflowing with people who are not necessarily medically, diagnosed, or to say you have a condition, but this mental disorder is caused by mjolo or relationships. These people went into a relationship, everything was functioning, but this partner, hey, they've done things to them,
Yes.
and caused them to be this cycle that they are today. There's many women who says, you know what, I do not like the person I've become.
Yes.
I'm finding myself ke thubadilo. I'm finding myself ke sala dimane morao ke tsoha ka thuya matha ko cheka ko di broteleng hore o na le mang. I have become a crazy person. I've become a 24-hour detective.
Yes.
And when I got in here, I was such a lovely person. Now, when you speak about this, you just make me realize now that we do not pay attention to such things.
Yes.
And even the people in the mjolo themselves, they don't pay attention. But once you start realizing, I'm going to toxicity, you need to take action.
Yeah.
You can't be sitting there,
Yeah.
I'm gonna drown. But they stay, and instead of becoming something better, they start to become like that person who is causing this pain to them. For
Sure.
this,
But look, please help us, and then we're going to, of course, to jingle around this to say we understand the weight of mental health, and then in the relationships that the people have got a number of mental issues now in relationships. Of course, we're going to look at them as we continue to say what are those mental issues that which are present. Now what I want us probably to start off to understand is, are people getting those mental issues in their relationship, or they come with them somewhere, from somewhere?
I'm sure you're going to appreciate that I recently released a book called Unveiling the Veiled.
Yes.
And in there, I'm highlighting, different characters. Now, these characters are mainly women.
Yes.
Who are, abusive to their partners, in essence. And most of these women are not aware of that. So, a mental disorder can be twofold.
Okay.
And we need to also be careful here, because we're not speaking from a diagnosis point of view.
Yes.
We're speaking based on what our DSM-5 prescribed as a mental disorder.
Yes.
And then mental disorder could be
more knowledge based.
Yeah. So but it could be anything, ranging from your anxiety, your stress, your depression, and so forth. And we can go up to more serious stuff like schizophrenia, dementia, which happens obviously in old age and so forth. So those are serious stuff. But we've got a whole lot of range of all these subtle ones, obsessive compulsive disorder, obsessive attachment disorder.
Sure.
So those are the ones that are prevalent in most relationships. And obviously depression, tops the chart in there. So you find that people can either come with this disorder that is hidden and they're not aware of it, or they come with it and then the triggers in this new relationship cause that disorder now to manifest.
Sure.
Or they came in, they were functioning well, they were happy, they were just looking forward to having a happy relationship with this person, but this person does things that causes them to start developing these mental conditions. And we need to look at them from all those, perspectives to say, if I was okay, and indeed I can go back and say, I never had traumas. If I had a trauma, probably it might have been in my family of origin, but I've dealt with this particular trauma. However, you find people who are coming with traumas that were not necessarily discovered, in a relationship, but they started in their family of origin. And when they meet this particular guy, and let me just make an example. So you find that there's a young woman here whose father left them when they were 5 years old. And for all these years, they long for this father who was never there. And they happen to meet this gentleman who just doesn't care, He's there in their life, but these particular women start to develop, obsessive attachment disorder because they want this man to always be there and do things that her father fails to do. So instead of looking at this man as a partner, she sees a father in them.
Sure.
But this one gets stifled and now start to retaliate to say, I'm not your father, I'm your boyfriend, or I'm your husband, whatever.
Yes.
Then it start to create toxicity. Because this one start to make this one feel like you cannot, fulfill my desires, you don't love me, and all those things. Now, when this one leaves this relationship, he's also now got toxic traits. He then goes into a next relationship and starts to put defenses so that the next woman doesn't do what the previous woman has done. So there's a very fine line, Lemza, in all these issues. If we are not paying attention, we might say everybody's got mental disorder.
Now I remember, when we were growing up at school, there was this teacher, and I think it got spread throughout to say we are all mad. It's just our degree of madness. We differ with the degree.
Degree and manifestations.
Yes.
Abanye, it hasn't manifested yet.
Yes.
But if you find the wrong man, who will come and cause it to manifest, you will realize. But yeah, I think. There's an element. I mean, if you study psychology and you go into psychology, one can, to a certain extent, agree. We all have an element of toxicity, but here the issue is not that we have. It's not whether we have it or not. The issue is how do we manage it. There are people who are aware of it, and they know. You know what? I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from OCD. And because of that, I need to manage myself, when I'm with the people. Because many people, for example, women, they've got a high level of OCD. You do find it from men as well. That we can't even be free in the house. Every time I put this bottle here, it's going to be moved and put elsewhere. If I try to put my foot on the couch, it will be moved sadly. So they create an environment whereby they make it difficult for themselves and for every other person who comes into their life that they cannot function. So many people are suffering from that and they don't know that that's a mental disorder.
It looks like is cleanliness.
Yeah, it looks like cleanliness.
It looks like it's what is this term now? It goes through the window, but relatively to cleanliness.
Yes.
Yeah. When I get it, I'll bring it.
But we are cooler. It's not about we are cooler. Something is wrong with you, and that's why most of those people they hop from one relationship to the next. Eventually, they then take a decision to remain single. And they are the ones who go out and say, I'm celibate. No man can live with you. You're not celibate. You are sick. You need to deal with the sickness and have somebody to come and live with you. And I'm not saying all celibate people are sick. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are situations and times where somebody says, I'm celibate, but in essence, they are running away from dealing with their own mental disorder. And it's very key for us to understand, you know what? Where did I get this from?
Yes.
Was it from home or did I meet this person and suddenly I've got this or no? Some people don't even know. However, abanye bayagula, bayahlanya vela ngamampela. And then when they get into relationships, they put on makeup. So they hide themselves, but they hide.
They put that veil. They
put the veil. And in the beginning of a relationship, if you are smart enough, you can hear. Yes, I want a man who does this. They're very demanding and very subtly so. A man who can't do this for me, it's a no-go. Already you can see their standards are very high. But when you look at them, they don't even have any or half of that which they require or they demand from you. But sometimes you fall in love with a person, regardless of their, madness.
Yes.
And you hope that you will one day change them, And it doesn't end. It doesn't stop because the problem is not you. You will do so much for them. You'll go out of your way to satisfy them, but you are not dealing with the upline about because it's in their head.
It's in their head.
Yeah. It's not in what you are doing or not doing for them.
Sure.
So we need to start now looking at the two of us. What is the extent of our madness?
Yes, and then in the very same line, I'm bringing these three dynamics of mental issues or mental sicknesses, however or disorders. that we look at nature, we look at nature, and we look at circumstantial.
Sure.
To say, number one, in relationship, people, how much should they understand the nature part? Because other people, the mental issues, it runs in the family. To say, how do you become observant of the family? Because now what I want us to bring some other issues, because now you'll find it that it's a nature, if you may. It sometimes comes from the family, and sometimes it's developmental during the pregnancy and so on. It's sophisticated. As you rightly say, that we do not deal with it with that level of information. But those are the things that which are present. But there is a nature part of it, that which is attachment challenges in terms of how the person have grown, because that becomes key as well in the relationship. Because when one is falsely or wrongly attached, the absence of the father, the absence of the mother, or how these parents or the caregivers were relating to you, if they were neglecting you or they were embracing you, mostly we know that sometimes there is a good embracement, but there is a very bad embracement where you embrace a child more than enough, that this child, when now he's in the relationship, that embracement, that close attachment, then it creates a problem.
Yeah, dependency.
Yes.
They never learned to be independent.
Sure.
So you thought you were giving them this good embrace, but in essence what you did, you created dependency or a syndrome on these children.
Yes.
So when they get into this relationship, they can't function on their own. They need to always be attached to this person. When this person fails to give them this attention, they start to be angry, throw their toys and say, but you don't love me, because they're comparing you with their initial embracer. Yeah.
Yes, and then now you bring this element to say now, because I want us to look into this dynamic, to say this one has this close attachment, that is, this person lacked independence. Then now he gets into the relationship with an independent one.
Yeah. And for some reason, it always happens like that. Yeah.
Yes, with someone that needs someone who is self-driven, who can think on himself or herself, that can take initiatives, and then now let's look at this. Now, now remember we said to say we've got the level of madness, but with different degrees.
Sure.
And then now these people, both of them, in their minds, they think they are sober.
Okay.
They think they are okay. And then, but now, how do we resolve this conflict? Because already this is a conflict. It brings toxicity in the relationship.
Yes.
Because one says, you're not close to me. And then the other one, uchapisi when.
Even 9 months session, babizani super glue. Super glue. I can't even do anything. Every time I'm out, she called me. Where are you? How far are you? What time are you going to be home? You can't even spend time with your friends.
Sure.
You can't have a day to yourself, because every time I'll phone you like a video call to check. So and they don't. You see, the problem with that, they call it love. They call it care.
Yeah.
When I care about you, or super glue, but they don't realize that that's not caring. They are suffering from something, called obsessive attachment disorder, that they cannot let go. They are dependent on something or someone. And you see that when this person is taken away from them, they also now get attached to other things, alcoholism, or maybe sexual intercourses with different people. They don't realize that the one who's sick here is them. And they need to go and deal with. That's why what I do, and I always say that don't ask, a God for a good partner, but also ask for a man or a woman who's also spiritually healthy and emotionally healthy. That is key. Yes. Because if they don't understand that dynamic about them, we're going to have a conflict at all times. Sure. And that conflict, now let's go back to this particular point here so that our viewers can understand why. Now, many people don't realize that their subconscious mind. Now listen to this.
Yes.
Their subconscious mind
Yes.
controls 95% of their lives.
Yeah. So a subconscious is that behind the scene.
Behind
now.
the scene.
Yeah, it's not that which you can see,
No,
that
you
can
can't.
process.
You cannot
Yes.
process. In fact, what is even worse with it is that it stores a whole lot of memories that you might have forgotten, at the conscious level. But when time comes, it will present those memories to the fore, to the conscious, for the conscious to start dealing with them. So the subconscious mind controls 95% of most of us life. In fact, all of us, not most of us.
It creates automatic responses.
Yeah, it creates automatic responses. So basically what it does, it lives your life for you. If you are not in control of it. So
Sure.
if madness that you picked up from your family of origin is stored there, rest assured it's going to be released at some point. Now, the day you find a trigger, that madness will come forth. That's why I don't know baseball bet.
Sure.
I'm not like that. You're not like that. We agree with you. But there is an element that you picked up that was stored in there. Probably obone antia how kale kwa ulebe etsibile ka yona. Athiwa mafisteri a kolu ya boyfriend ya ha. But you thought antiwa ka waiting 20 yanki snacks. But you didn't realize that your brain recorded that incident.
Sure.
Now you find yourself in the same situation as your aunt.
And
your brain says, well,
and you act in the same way. Wow.
When you see this, quickly go get a baseball bat and you act the same. So I'm saying I'm going to force you to go back to search what traumas you may have incurred in your family of origin. Now, sometimes people pick up passive traumas. They don't realize that they picked up a trauma. So you witness a building burning with children inside. You see it somewhere. It's not directly linked to you.
Yes.
But you see that. Immediately you start to worry about those children. You feel for those children. At that moment, your brain stores that memory.
Yes.
The day you have your own children, you become so attached to them that you don't want to let them go.
Because of that trauma.
Because of that trauma. When somebody comes out when you're supposed to leave the children alone, because you don't realize the reason why you behave like that, it was because of that trauma.
Sure.
So in essence, you are suffering from PTSD.
Yes.
And maybe we'll speak about it as well, Uri. How does it affect people when they get into the new relationship? If they've picked it up, are they aware of it? That woman who saw that building burning was not aware.
Was not aware.
No, she wasn't. She just thought.
But the emotions and the
but the brain took that as her own experience. Because remember, the brain cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why you hear people saying you are what you think. You imagine something, the brain thinks
that's
happening.
That's happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
That's why meditation is important.
It's very key.
And people will dream things, and then like a person will dream. We make an example. Will dream being in love with you.
Yes.
And then the following day would want you to act as if you are in love, or your partner dream you maybe having relationship with someone. When you wake up, it's a war.
Are you shitting on me? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, no, give me your phone. What's wrong? Now, what happened to you is that your brain started to play tricks on you.
Yeah.
And you will see how also it creates distrust or mistrust. That you start now distrusting your partner because of all these angles. Now, suddenly, you hear somebody go, you are listening to this and thinking, Mara, that one go high. Isn't that really next?
Yes.
Suddenly you get home and Mutisa, have you ever cheated on me? I don't know. Are you sure? I'm sure. Why God what doubt? No, but I get doubt. But let me see your phone. For what? Now suddenly the fight starts. Right there.
Yes.
Now she starts to become paranoid. Because of you didn't see the need to give her your phone. I mean, what's the issue? Suddenly now that phone becomes suspect. Why not pass with my phone? Can't what's wrong? Okay, why phone almost silent? I've been working the whole day. I can't give you phone.
Sure.
No, why suddenly you about phone? You start to see how your brain is starting to suffer now because of one incident. Somebody fella told you something, it's recorded in your brain, your mind now keeps it now playing, like a broken record in your mind. Now you start to believe, you start to even live it, that this man is cheating on me. And you hear women saying, I can tell you, I just can't figure it out, but I promise you. Your brain is now playing tricks on you. You are starting to go crazy.
That is, you have moved from one level to the other. So when I'm listening to you, is that you will have maybe an initial disorder.
Yes.
But through other experiences, and then you develop other things.
Yeah.
And then to the level that now you brought something. I think what you have cracked here, it's one other major problem in many relationships.
Yeah.
It's cyber stalking.
Yeah.
Cyber stalking, that your partner, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
He's checking
He's
you.
like a hawk.
Yeah, it's like a hawk in all of your media space.
Yes.
He's checking that he knows your friends and the friends of yours and the friends of the friends of the friends.
Yes. And even where they work. Yes.
Cyberly so. Yes.
And what's even worse, and which is, more frustrating, which also causes mental issues for the partners that are not doing that. Because now this person goes and check their Facebook, their partner's Facebook, and realize that there's a beautiful woman who commented on your partner's post.
Stay there for some time.
Yeah. So this beautiful woman comment on your post.
Yeah.
And how does she comment? With an emoji. You've got only very few emojis on Facebook, 5, I think, or 6. So this person loves your work.
Yes.
They comment with the love emoji.
For what is being said, either your comment there
or
or
what you
your
posted.
post.
Yeah.
Yes.
They comment with this love emoji. Now, this person is only your friend on Facebook.
Yes.
You've never met them.
Yes.
We talk, you know how social media is.
Yes.
But you've never met this particular person.
Yeah.
When you get home, now you are called to account.
Waratuwa, ne?
Yeah,
you have been loved.
Yeah, I get why now. Boyfriend there, everybody. I get everybody now when I stay out setting morale. Bao rata. Now you are sitting there asking, "Kim man that? Oh, which is I get give to how? I get like it's not when I'm going to call him before the high." And you are so confused to what happened here. Oh, why Makata? How? Holy Mohai Moy Makata, man, go start and go. We Tamika 5 feeling you go in pit.
Yeah, one guest light.
Yeah, one guest light. Who are filter or what just got jumpy or what jaw. And you are so confused. And you go through your Facebook, you can't find anything. And then one day they wait for that woman to comment something again. This time, o comment like amantu. Are you rock?
Yeah.
You rock. What does she mean? How do you rock? You know, you rock. And you're thinking, but want to comment? No. Why is particular? And you've got 800 people who commented in that post. But this one, this particular one, and a person does not realize that they took that scene and created, a suspicion in their heads.
Yes.
That now is turning to become a reality for them. And they are seeing you kissing that person. They are seeing you after work going to that person's house. They are seeing you and that person going on holidays. There's a film,
there's a series.
There's a series already playing in their mind. And that series makes them now to be crazy. Suddenly you get a phone call, Mokai. No, you want me to go. Why how do what to No, give on miracle. What must people say? No, it'll go for a video call. No, it's not necessary. I'm at work. And the click they phone a video call. Eventually, you show them or officing. Yeah, king we share officing a speed. But how fast can I run from when you call to now? No, can we when? Why are you still officing Ganagwe? Who else is there? I need to finish the work. Can you just give? No, I know there's something happening. In fact, they hang up. And can I tell you what they do? They get into their car, they go to your office. To go to check or there. If they've got your tracker access on their phone, almost mogo. They will check you and to the T. Now, bear in mind that some trackers, as much as they are real life, but they've got a lag or a delay. So you could be here now ka 4:30, but tracker will show no limo ka 5:00. So this person is looking at that or ka 5:00 no go Busang Studios. Why you feel high na so? And you don't even know what to say to them. Now the issue is not the tracking. The issue is this person has become a mad and they don't realize it. And they're suffering from some kind of mental disorder. They don't realize it.
Yes.
Now, but then when you go deep to dig as to what transpired, you realize that this person's father used to do this to the mother. Now you hear them saying all men are the same.
Sure.
When they say that, they're not talking about you. They're talking about their father who was abusing their mother.
Sure.
And as a result, they took a mental condition from that situation and they are starting now to live in that situation with you. Now she has turned into her mother and turning you into her father.
Her father.
Now the defenses that the mother was using against the father are now meted against you. You don't even know what you've done. You are supportive, you are buying everything in the house, but you always told, no, and you were never even told But because the father was not even buying sugar at all, they want you to be that man. Case. They want you to be that man who doesn't buy sugar. So they will wait for the sugar to be finished and not tell you.
Look, I want us to go back a little bit. Following the train of thoughts that which we have brought. Remember when we started, we spoke of to say other people when they are in the relationship will claim to say untotsikili sharp. Untotsikili sharp. Next side you read totzen. Now as we discuss now, as we engage now, we find to say actually this person has not been that good.
Look,
there were triggers,
and we need to be very careful here.
Okay.
Some people believe that they are not sick. Some people are not sick, so meaning they don't have emotional or they don't carry emotional burden.
Yes.
Earlier on, I gave you an example of being a passive participant in a situation.
Yes.
So you're not actively involved in your mother and father's issues, but you record them, you see them, and they irritate you. And you make a decision that I don't want to be like them. But that experience does not necessarily mean it's not recorded.
Yes.
You passively recorded the experience. You haven't entertained it, but it's there sitting in your brain. You may have also experienced the same with your friends. Their boyfriends or husband treated them in a particular way. You are not that kind of a person who is loud and using vulgar language and so forth. That's not you. But that incident is recorded.
Yes.
You are not aware of it because you are a passive participant. Then you find this guy who brings out the worst in you. You see what I'm saying now?
Yeah.
You find this guy who brings out the worst in you. He's abusive, he belittles, he does all these things. Suddenly, the way we are created as human beings, we are created with defense instinct.
Yes.
So your brain is there to help you, to assist you, to defend you. That's its job. That's why we spend a lot of time being afraid or fearful. Because your brain does not want you to get into danger. And that's why it wants to protect you. That's the creation that God obviously made. Because if He didn't do that, most of us would have been eaten by lions. Because we would have just killed or inhibited the fear space in the brain. And then that would have died. Then we would just go and, just like children. You see, children don't have a sense of fear. Because their brain is not fully developed. And that's why whether it's a snake or a dog or fire, they'll go there and touch. But as they grow up, then their brain is fully developed. They start to know because now the brain has now developed fully for them to comprehend where the danger is. But once that happens, they start now to express and utilize their defense mechanisms. So all of us, we have it. Now, the difficulty here is that once that person gets into a relationship that does the things that they passively experienced, that person now starts to bring the worst in them. Where does the worst come from? The worst come from the movies you watch. You watched Acrimony. So you remember how that woman was treated unfairly. Your brain
Yes.
says, you remember what she did. You are going to go and bend that boat. You're going to go bend that car. You're going to go. But now, it's not you at the time. It's your brain saying, ungakhohlwa.
Yeah, there's an information stored in you.
To say you can solve this issue by
in
doing
this way.
this. Yeah.
Sure.
So now the West is coming out. You must understand this.
Yeah.
You are doing things that you never done before. But because this particular guy triggered a memory that resembled an earlier memory that you picked up when you were young, and you go and figure out how was that resolved. It was resolved by breaking the TV, by breaking this, by burning that, by calling all her girlfriends and tell them, oh, this is a dog. So you suddenly find yourself doing that. And if this man doesn't stop, your mind says, no, we'll give you even more advanced mechanism of dealing with him.
Yeah.
Then you remember, or you are now sick. You are no longer operating in your health conscious state. You are now operating in the sick state.
Sure.
You are out there to destroy. You are out there to kill. You are out there to mess up. That's why the other thing that also causes mental disorder is unforgiveness. Now, if you haven't forgiven this man, you've allowed that space whereby your brain says, now it's time to go and cause a hullabaloo. So many people go in the relationship now with these things purged. They are there, but they are purged.
Sure.
And the moment they experience a particular situation which triggers that, the West, the West is not coming up haphazardly. The West is taught somewhere. You go and you open the files to find the West.
Sure.
And then you now present the West as though it's this guy. This guy just triggered it.
Yeah.
He just brought it forward.
And the truth about relationships, we need not to run away from the fact to say the truth about every relationship. It will bring those elements.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. You like it or not, it will bring that because of the long time, the duration in the relationship and the closeness that which you develop in the relationship. And then people will say lemon is beautiful when it's still on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give you a scenario. A scenario which I had at some point. This woman found her husband in bed with another woman. She then went out, picked up bricks, put them in a bucket, went into the room and started stoning that woman and this guy in the room. And she said, I stoned them, but obviously there was screams, so neighbors came and obviously they restrained her. And I asked her, what was going on in your mind? She said, when I worked in there, I remembered the story of the woman who was caught in adultery. In the Bible. And the instruction was, if you find somebody in adultery, you must stone
them to death.
Now, look at that experience. Coming out of the Bible.
Sure.
Triggering that moment to say, if you find people in adultery, you stone them.
And that became an initial response.
That became an initial response. And this was a woman of God. The only thing that she knew was the reference from the Bible. Now, let me stone this person. So, and I'm trying to show you the extent of this thing called the subconscious mind. That it will go look for references that will cause you to become this crazy person if you are not in charge of the subconscious mind.
Yeah. Look, we need to appreciate. I think this, and then also our conversation also, it leads into that. That we'll need to appreciate those individuals who come into the sense to say, you know what, I'm not in the good senses. I need help. Yeah, nyakula.
I need to see someone.
Yeah, I need to see someone. And then we need to appreciate those people. To say, because others, they really say, mina ngihlanya nginje nguye ohlanyayo. So it really takes a lot from the individual to arrive to say, look, I need help, I need to speak to someone, and then assistance be availed for such a person.
How easy do you think that is for this person to say, I want to nyakula manje?
It's not easy.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah, it's not easy. There are different reasons for that. One of the reason is that, especially if that particular disorder is socialized one, is one that comes from the family, because who you are is what the rest in your family are. Then you are unable, therefore, to see yourself to say, man, this is wrong. But amazingly, other people in the very same situation, they can be able to say, Eko hae bahlanya. Ne, but
And I go bad.
yeah, akibatle buhlanya bo. And then he's the worst. Actually, he's the worst. He's the top of the range in that. So that is number one, because you see it around. But number two, disorders are very funny. Mental disorders are very funny until probably someone highlight it to you to say, hey man, that this is the thing. You will not be able to see it because sometimes it's a disorder that which has been with you. You grew with it, and then they let it has been normalized basically, and it becomes normal. About what? But you've got this is singing. So until other people then are let to know to say, amen. Look, this is the situation for you. But people will also live in denial in that, and then that's another thing. It's a denial of that fact because other people will know this disorder, how terrible it is, because. This other thing, remember other people, they've got a wrong imaginary self. Other people, for instance, will imagine and think that we are these loving people and all of this. We are caring people.
We're nice, we are sweet.
Yes.
And they don't realize.
and then don't realize that, man, it's wrong. I think Johari, these two gentlemen, they looked at it and they understood to say, we've got these four parts about us. There is this person that which I am that I don't know of, but other people around they know because it's the person I exhibit, I show forth. And there is this person that also is very secretive that other people do not know. Then is that person many people they love in themselves to say, I'm this caring, I'm this loving, I'm this. But people do not see that. And then that is one other thing is that a wrong notion that which we have about ourselves, thinking that we are this good while we are actually not that good people. So that is the reason that those are particular reasons that which you can find. But also, as I said, that mental disorders are very funny because most of the time other disorders, of course, it depends which one that we can deal with. That other disorders, they hide themselves. That a person can totally innocently not knowing that is out of the mind. For instance, let's take people who would act. Remember, we spoke to say the importance of fear in us, that which whenever there is danger, it would make us to either have a flight mode or the fight mode. Because fear, for instance, what it does, especially those that which will have an uncontrolled fear, because it increases the palpitation and the blood goes into the mind, then your thinking pattern, then it shuts down. So you cannot be able to think anymore. And then the failure to think, you end up doing some wrong things. Responding negatively, unaware. That is why other people, after they have responded, either they have slaughtered someone, they have killed someone, afterward
they wake up. What did I do? So there are those elements with people. That is why we say you must not take it for granted the voice of other people. What are they saying about you? What behavior are they picking up from you? Don't say bahlanya, because they see what you do not see. They experience your harshness. They are the ones at the receiving end of how vulgar you are, how insultive you are, how unreasonable you are. And then you need to listen to those people, because not every action that which you do, you are able to pick it up from yourself. So that is the situation for most of the people. I want us to take it now to that old movie called Diary of a Mad Black Woman, where you saw that lady who seems to be very submissive, seemed to be very normal. And that's a movie show. But we had this guy who was arrogant and was belittling and condescending.
Yes.
Treating that woman so bad that all that woman wanted was revenge.
Yeah.
Because this guy is pushing you and pushing and pushing you. And we know that we've got people in such relationships whereby their partner is pushing them, to the limits, especially this would be a man and doing that to a woman. Now, that woman, in her entire life, she never thought that she would push a man on the wheelchair into a bath full of water and then leave him there to say, bath yourself. Because that's not how she grew up, that's not how she was raised. But this man has, created something in her that became so much hatred that towards this particular man, I'll show him that I'm crazy. He wants me to be crazy, I'll be crazy for him. But I want to draw the parallels there.
Yes.
And then there's this guy called Orlando who comes into the picture. This woman is performing lovingly to this man, and she's very happy. That psycho is suddenly patched. We now have got two people, the loving one and the psycho one. So how then do we, describe this woman? Is she a psycho? Is she a loving woman? Or does it take you back to we all have that element of madness? That if you find the right person who can bring it to the fore, you're going to see it happening. You're going to find yourself acting like a mad person because this person has triggered you to do that.
Yes.
And while we are talking about that, remember we are on the relationships. We need to understand the importance of conducting ourselves in such a way that we do not push our partners, to those lens whereby we see their madness,
Yes.
But and again, with men, usually they kill themselves. When you push him too far and you make him feel like he's nobody and you belittle him in front of your friend and you tell him when to come home, what to eat, what not to eat, you're creating this monster that one day is going to turn and eat you. And you're going to start blaming that monster and say, you're a monster, you ate me. But you don't realize, but I was pushing you. So how then do we come to a place whereby we say, be aware, are you a monster? Are you a good woman? Have you been triggered? Or what happened there? Could we ascribe your behavior to this one particular person?
I want us to assist our viewers with a line of thoughts that which we have brought in here. Also with that movie, I think that movie you are bringing, the Diary of a Mad Woman, it's quite very much equivalent to what we have been talking about.
Yes.
To say, you look at this woman that she is okay. She's a beautiful woman, loving woman, and all of that. But the man is the one that which is negative. But at the particular time when this woman was pushed to the limit, then she brought the worst out of her. And then at the particular time, then she brought the best also out of her. So there's a worst, there's a best. And then now you look at her mother. You look at the mother. Now we say, her mother she's also kind of that, kind of a chameleon. She's the worst. She can be rough, that woman. And then those are the things that which, when we go to the line of thoughts that which we have, that these are things stored in her.
Yes.
To say, I can be violent whenever violence is needed.
If you allow me to let it out.
Yes, and I can bring it up. But if I am not pushed to the limit, I can also be nice.
I'll leave it where it's stored.
Yes. And then you brought it quite very nice to say we need to be very much aware of individuals, to say in every individual there is the darker side of every person. There is pain in every person. There is misfortunes in every person. And for us, we need to live with people aware that there is a worst that this person can bring. Now, that is why I said earlier on to say a lemon will be beautiful when it's there until you squeeze it. Then once you squeeze it, you get the bitterness of it out of. To say, let us not drive people to the edge. Let us do the best that we bring the best out of them. Because We do not know what is the worst in them. If we push them to the limit, because other people, they are very kind, they are very good, and then you start to play sweep. Spinning upon their head, and then you start to take them for granted until they show you flames. And then most of the time, other relationships are in the rocks now, because now the kind person was really negatively and wrongly manipulated. And the worst came out of him. Then now we see all these disorders. Now you find now two people in both of them now they exhibit a lot of disorder now. There's violence or if it goes into the hill or into the sea, let it go.
Because this is the life that you want.
Yes.
When I'm trying to be this lovely person, you don't like that.
Yes. And then we say, let's avoid that. And then, of course, this is a topic that which has many rooms. Of course, it has many rooms. We can deal with a number of things in it. But I want us to probably outline one more time to say, what are the behaviors in this relationship, in a relationship, that can stimulate people to have mental disorders?
Yeah.
And I know one of it, that which is very prevalent. We have dealt with one, with the cyber one.
Yes.
That now you are checked, and then now we come with verbal abuse.
Yes.
That is verbal violence.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, remember now, we know that most of the time, we do not say men do not verbally abuse.
Yeah.
But we know that mostly, we check the prevalence now to say, as the prevalence, women are more verbally abusive.
Yeah.
But also we do not say women are not physically abusive. But we know that there are women that can beat physically other men.
That's what shy as Steve.
But it's not their prevalence. No, the prevalence is with men. But now the thing is, our society blames more of the physical abuse than the verbal abusiveness. How have you arrived into that situation?
You see, it's difficult to manage what you cannot measure. Physical hurts are more easily, measurable and observable. If somebody has hit you with a fist, we can see it here. And you can go to a doctor, the doctor will examine you and say, indeed, you've got a fracture. So that's why even the law is more concerned about the physical being.
Yes.
And as much as, one can claim that, since I met this person, I was fine, but here's a medical record. I have been in and out of hospital. Now that's coming to the emotional space or psychological space. That will be considered. However, it's sometimes difficult to prove that this is as a result of this man.
Yes.
You could be coming with that trauma from wherever, and it was just exacerbated by being in that situation. So it's a bit difficult to measure, even verbal abuse. And that's why the best that they can do is to give you a restraining order to say you cannot go, within certain areas of this person, because we don't want you to tell them these hurtful things, But words can be very hurtful. Emotional abuse can be very hurtful, because a person start to gaslight you, you start to think that you are crazy yourself. They do something and they blame you. So you start to become really crazy because of their words. And they even tell you, we're not crazy, man. And you go around questioning yourself every time. Was I wrong? You ask other people, Emuna, this is a scenario, was I wrong? And nobody can see you're wrong, but this one person keeps telling you you're crazy.
Yes.
You are sick, you are wrong. You think you are dead, you think you are dead. So you also lose yourself. Your self-esteem gets eroded, and because of the weights that come from this person.
Sure.
So you find that many people now are cast out in the street purely because of what their partner are saying to them. Many men are being belittled. They are being treated and reduced to little boys. Women, on the other hand, they're treated like nobodies. I mean, especially if a woman does not have money and they don't really bring anything to the table. These men can do whatever they want. They can speak anyhow they want to speak with them because it's my money, So these are the men who put money above everything else. Yeah. So the difficulty here is that you can only listen to the person telling you what they said to them. You don't have any physical proof, However, because we know that these things happen, but at the same time, I need to caution here There are people who are suffering from inherited depression.
Yeah.
I want you to pay attention to that. There are people who are suffering from inherited depression, which means they come with it from their family of origin.
Yes.
Any little thing triggers them.
Yeah.
You know, you can't function
They're
around
depressed
them.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't function around them. Every little thing that goes into emotional space, they become depressed. You are now walking on eggshells in your own home.
Sure.
Because you are afraid to detonate the bomb. Anytime it can explode.
Yeah.
And kill all of you. But they blame you. Yeah, it's because you came home late yesterday. It's because you didn't want to buy me this. And you wonder, why is this person making an issue out of this? Because I said, I don't have money this month.
So
but
everything is an issue.
everything is an issue. That person is sick, and they are going to look for somebody to blame because they don't want to deal with their own inherited issues.
The level of sensitivity is
it's very high. It's
very
extremely
high.
high. You know, you touch it and it gets rotten, you know?
Sure.
So people need to be aware of such people. That when you bring them into a relationship, in the beginning, they show you as though they are very emotionally tender.
Yeah,
you know,
it has
because they
tender.
want to manipulate you to say, you know me. When I came in this relationship, I didn't want to mess things up. They manipulate you. They are already setting you up so that the day they act, you can know it's you. You know, and they make you believe that you are the reason why they are unhappy.
Sure.
Now, if you are dating that kind of person, you cannot help them. If they are not realizing that they are sick, there's nothing you can do. When you are married, unfortunately, the situation is different. You're going to have to try, and I know it's difficult to live with somebody that's always depressed.
Sure.
Because it depresses you as another partner.
Yes.
You try to live, but you can't because you're thinking, I'm going to go home, I'm going to find her depressed. I'm going to go home, I'm going to find him depressed. What do? You go to a bar. You want to come home drunk so that you don't see that depression.
Sure.
You are now suppressing yourself so that you don't get to experience their depression. When you wake up in the morning, they're sitting next to the bed. Ready to tell you about you coming home drunk last night. And you realize that at least you postponed it for 12 hours.
For 12 hours.
You can't get away from it.
And others, they wake you up.
They wake you up
at the midnight.
We get So it's those kind of things that we do not pay attention to, that sometimes I could be sick and I'm taking the sickness and I'm giving over to a whole lot of people that can't live with me. I am a difficult person to live with. I don't need to blame anybody else. I need to accept that I've got some kind of medical condition, a mental condition that I need to deal with. Now, the difficulty you spoke to it earlier on is that research says most people suffering from that, they are not aware that they're suffering from mental condition.
Yeah.
In fact, they will hate you if you tell them that. You know, now I'm very neat and clean. Right there. The moment the person speaks like that, we know they're sick.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
right,
we don't
there's a
even have to
problem.
question.
Yeah.
So how do we help them? I mean, here am I now, I'm living with this person. How will I know that this is toxicity that can lead to a mental disorder? But if I'm already there, you know, how do I get out of the situation?
Yeah, look, it's a tough one because you know why it's a tough one, né? It's a tough one because even the person who is watching us now has got all the signs we are talking about. He still don't see it in himself.
Yeah. You know what they're saying? Must comment on the post. You wait for the comment. No, you guys, you think you know everything. You are crazy.
Yes.
And this is exactly what you are saying, that they have it. They don't know that they have it. They see others, projection.
Yes.
They see
yes.
others. Look, I'm not
Man,
going...
projection is dangerous.
It's dangerous.
And it's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just emphasizing that
no,
one.
it is. Because that's how many people... it's used as a coping mechanism. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to project it onto somebody else. It's you.
It's you. While it's actually me.
In actual fact, it's actually me.
I see myself in
you. But I cannot call myself out.
Mirror,
you are my mirror. So, but I can't call myself out because it's less riskier and less threatening to say it's you. At least I don't have to feel the guilt.
Man, projection.
I leave it with you.
Most relationships are struggling with that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of gaslighting, of course, in that, because it goes with that.
Yeah.
And then that it's you all the time. And we need to wrap up, man.
Let's
say,
close it.
look, this says a lot. Look, we've brought a number of disorders this it can bring, and a lot of it, it is your PTSD elements, it is the
OCD,
depression, OCD, it's anxiety, making you now
Attention
to always.
disorder.
Yeah, so it has a lot. We say relationships, if they are not well taken care of, will bring the worst out of people.
Yeah.
And we do not want the worst to come out of people. And we say, and then that's where premarital counseling is key. Because in a premarital counseling, we are able to pick those disorders.
The blind spots.
Yes,
yeah.
the blind spot.
Ukuthi lo muntu wakho uyahlaya.
Yeah, because you, as a partner, you cannot, there's a level where you cannot bring that.
Yeah, you are
to
in
your
love
partner.
land. You can't
yes,
see.
you can't see it. And also, whenever now there is a struggle in a relationship, you cannot say, hey, but I think you needed to see a psychologist, someone that can sit with you.
Yeah.
So it becomes now
Defenses now again.
Yes, a defense, it comes. So that's why we say to people, before you're married, get the professionals, get the highest level of premarital counseling, people that can be able to make diagnosis and understand what are the situations. But other people are already in there, say we are married. We say you are married, okay, it's fine. It's not a hopeless situation. Still come for help.
Yeah.
Find the help and then get people that which can assist you. And then all will be okay. Any closing remarks for you?
Hi, Baba, mina se
Eh.
All I'm saying is that all of us have got issues. Don't let your mental inability cause you to lose a great relationship. Deal with it.
Yes, take control of yourself. Yeah. You've got that ability to take control of yourself, find help when you need the help. And this is insightful exchange. We always bring the inside details of things. And we hope today you have gotten the best in our discussion today. And we are out here. Shalom.
Shalom.